We off?
30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes.
Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree.
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet.
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
This episode is brought to you by Principles. Are there limits to the U.S. government's debt growth? What will happen if the debts are not curtailed? What should policymakers or investors do? Those are urgent questions that legendary investor and New York Times bestselling author Ray Dalio addresses in his new book, How Countries Go Broke: The Big Cycle. The book comes out in June and is available for pre-order today, wherever books are sold.
5 immersive worlds, 1 amazing theme park. Get ready to explore the all-new Universal Epic Universe, featuring the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, and Dark Universe. Epic Universe opens May 22nd at Universal Orlando Resort. Our universe will never be the same. Tickets and packages on sale now at universalorlando.com.
Matt, we are back with another Poodle Hat track, and this is one of my favorites, I think, on this album. And maybe I'm biased because I'm a Ben Folds loving person, but I think we need to bring in another biased Ben Folds loving person. At long last, Allie Goertz is back on Weird Algorithm.
Woo, hello. I'm very excited to be here.
Welcome back. And that makes 3 because I'm also a big Ben Folds fan. This is exciting. There's a lot to talk about with this track. It
sounds like you're copying us.
Well, you know what? I mean, me too, right, guys? I've heard of this guy, Ben Folds.
Ben Farms. Yeah.
Ben Farms. Folds. This is a sort of like right away, right? This is Ben Folds plays piano on this track. This is like a guest musician on the song. It's kind of rare.
That leads to an interesting question about this song, because I was listening to it and I'm like, this feels like a Ben Folds song. Mm-hmm. But like then I was like, but like what Ben Folds songs is this pulling from? And like I searched to try to find an answer, and the closest thing to an answer I could find was the Weird Al fandom wiki said that it was inspired by Philosophy, Brick, Fair, and Land It. But
I hear Philosophy a bit. I think and of course
the ba ba ba's maybe a little bit like the ba 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 that's in Fair, but like I don't hear Landed or Brick at all in this song.
I don't hear those so much. Philosophy I get, and then of course there's that massive piano solo in the middle of this song that Ben plays, and he has got plenty of songs that are loaded with that, kind of like One Angry Dwarf has a huge piano solo in the middle of it. But the other thing that struck me by it is that Ben is a guest piano player, but Ben doesn't get writing credit. Like, this is Al's song. Al wrote this in the style of Ben and then brought Ben in to play on it, but it's still Al's track. Like, this is like the lines of the style parody are arguably never more blurred than this. Like, this is a really interesting example.
I guess that was what my question was going to be, is like through a certain lens. And I think that we're all here in agreement that this is a Ben Folds style parody, but through a certain lens, could this just be a Weird Al original that because Ben Folds is playing his unique piano style, it then becomes a Ben Folds style parody?
Well, I feel like I don't know if you guys have already talked about the They Might Be Giants kind of homage. It's the same thing where it's like, I love Ben Folds so profoundly. I love They Might Be Giants so profoundly. I would argue that the Weird Al kind of takes on them are as good as any of the original Ben Folds songs and They Might Be Giant songs, because he understands them so deeply that they truly could have been fully written by the person that he is spoofing, or the people that he is spoofing, so to speak.
Yes. The They Might Be Giants comparison is also a good one, because when we did that episode, we discussed that like the Johns were hesitant to ever listen to that song because like they don't want to be seen as a joke band. Like they are a silly, fun band, but they're not a joke band. And I think that Ben Folds can fall into that category sometimes of like, I think the layman, if they only know like Song for the Dumped and Army, they might just think that Ben Folds is this like silly piano, like he's like the goofy
like
Billy
give me
Joel.
my money back.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but you're missing out on like, I don't think I've been able to listen to the song Evaporate and sing along with it without starting to tear up. Like he has written some of the most profoundly beautiful songs.
I mean, Brick is literally
history.
About an abortion.
Yeah, Brick is brutal and beautiful
and stunning.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely stunning. I mean, I think Ben, this is the danger, right, of being a artist who injects comedy into what you do, because it immediately makes people take you less seriously. And that's something that They Might Be Giants dealt with their entire career. Arguably, they still do. I think at a certain point, you become established enough that people kind of look like you're just singular for who you are. Ben Folds is pretty much at that point too, but I do think that, yeah, he also... he might have owned it a little bit more because, we didn't talk about it yet, but before this happened, before this Poodle Hat collaboration, Weird Al directed the music video for Rockin' the Suburbs.
He sure
for
did,
Ben
and
Folds.
has a cameo in it too.
And has a cameo in the video,
fun.
a great cameo of Al sitting at the mixing desk, and the mix sounds horrible, and he's like, "Oh God, this sounds bad," and looks down, and there's faders that say "suck" and faders that say "good," or "rock," "suck" and "rock," and he brings the "suck" down and the "rock" up, and sends like, there it is. Now it sounds great. So Ben, I think, is definitely comfortable with the comedy side of it, maybe more than They Might Be Giants were in 1996.
Yeah.
Which I think makes some sense just because They Might Be Giants, like the Johns are so undeniably talented.
Yeah.
But Ben Folds has the type of, whiz kid type of talent where it's like he's classically gifted when
He's
it comes to...
He's a virtuoso musician. You can hear it immediately,
He wouldn't have... If he was doing the exact same melodies, but just strumming on guitar, or just kind of plunking on the chords for the piano, maybe he would be a little bit more insecure, but I think he has the kind of backing of his musical genius. Not to say, and I will quickly point out, I'm currently working on a They Might Be Giants cover album, so I'm a huge fan.
Oh, boy, am I excited to hear that.
You should maybe be on it.
Hey,
I'm looking for
you need a bass player for it.
Let's absolutely have that conversation. I would be honored to be on it. Like my favorite band of all time, I always say. I just
God, that's
adore
amazing.
They Might Be Giants.
Allie, do you want to hear a really funny They Might Be Giants Matt Milligan related story?
Oh, God.
Is we did a charity live stream event this December. For Geekscape. We do a 24-hour long charity event to raise money for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and it's all of these different Weird Al fans. We're on a live stream, and Matt is noticeably not as strong of a stream as usual. In fact, he's streaming from the back of a car, and it's only then that he informs me that he's in Philadelphia, where I live, to see They Might Be Giants, and could have very easily just come and hung out in the basement for this live stream.
Oh, Matt is so offended by the turn of events. I don't know what I got a ride from my friends. I waited in the back of the car. I was parked outside Union Transfer in Philadelphia. It was a fantastic show. So good. Oh my God. They're like, what a band. What a band. I could
he'll go any lengths for They Might Be
Giants.
Giants.
Yes.
He prioritizes them over his best friend Matt Kelly.
Oh boy. We gotta
You're never gonna hear the end.
We gotta get this episode back on track.
But again, like Ben Folds, like you were, so I do a Christmas podcast. He put out a beautiful Christmas album last year. So of course we reviewed it. My co-host had never heard Ben Folds, and he said something that I never really thought about, where he's like, he's such a good piano player, but he's just like an all right vocalist. And I guess I never thought about it in that lens, except for like, yeah, is he Celine Dion? No. But like his voice is absolutely perfect for every single thing that he sings.
Yeah,
and like,
your co-host is dumb and wrong.
That's one of those funny things, and I've heard that before about other artists. Like I think that is just not on my radar at all. Like it never occurs to me when I'm listening to a song that is great that like someone's vocal is not. I don't know. It's just it's such a oddly small piece of the puzzle to me in the grand scheme of a great song.
Early 90s Blink-182 when Tom DeLonge sings is the only time I've ever been like, oh, that's not a good singer.
I'm just never, I'm never bothered
it's
by
the instrument.
Yeah,
exactly. It makes it what it is. Like, honestly, arguably, songs by better quote-unquote singers would be worse. It would suddenly make it like it's a different guy singing it all of a sudden. And a really great example of this, Weird Al. Weird Al is like a very trained, like, well, I mean, I don't know technically, but like he is very skilled and gifted, but he has a unique voice that's not necessarily like smooth as silk.
Yes.
It's Weird Al's voice, and like we need it to be Weird Al's voice to telegraph what's happening in the song.
Absolutely.
And that's true with Weezer, that's true with like every band that has it's like the Beatles. It's not like, you know.
I'll take emotional sounding singing over technically qualified singing any day.
Can you imagine Michael Bublé singing Ben Folds?
Yeah, it's like whatever. Well, that's like I always think of, and I recently learned this, and I love this story. It was like Kurt Cobain. Like when Kurt Cobain did MTV Unplugged, he purposely played. I think it was Lake of Fire, maybe also the closing song, actively a key higher than his normal register because he wanted to strain and sound pained and struggling because he knew that would make it a more memorable performance. And it's like that's why I get frustrated when people are like, oh, Kurt Cobain was a bad guitarist and a bad singer. It's like he was the perfect guitarist and singer for Nirvana.
That's a
like
dumb
it's
take,
the same argument as like the Meg
take.
White.
Yeah,
we were talking about like
bad.
the Meg White Stripe situation when people trash her as a drummer. She's the
it's
perfect
Same
drummer
with the
for the
Beatles.
White Stripes.
Yeah, same with the Beatles too with Ringo, actually.
Yeah, and like people have done really great examples of like subbing in better drumming on Beatles songs, and they suck because they're not supposed to do that.
There's a just back to the voice thing really quick. It's one of my favorite quotes from David Byrne. I might have it slightly off, but someone asking about his voice, and he said, in my opinion, the better someone's voice, the harder it is to believe what they're saying. I always think about that. I love that line so much. Yeah,
I agree with that when it comes to attraction level as well. If you're exceptionally gorgeous, I'm like, you haven't suffered.
Yeah, you're dubious. You're dubious.
Yeah,
It's like, what are you trying to sell
testing.
me right now? Yeah.
Anyway, why does this always happen to us, Matt? We're so off track. 12 minutes into
it's
this.
okay.
So
There's so much to talk about. I knew there was going to be. This is a great. This is such a fun song. This is we've gone over in a sort of broad sense the different types of songs that Al likes to write, and this is a recurring theme for him. But maybe this is like the best example of it he has ever done.
The best one,
which is the disproportionate response to a problem or a situation. Like either he is devastated by nothing, or he is taking the absolute catastrophe as a mild inconvenience. And this is the ultimate. Each verse ups the ante of Al acting mildly annoyed by real horrible stuff.
Well, it does two things, which I think it does both of them in the verses. You know what I mean? Like, he's mildly annoyed by the earthquake, but infuriated that it interrupted The Simpsons.
Yes.
Like, it's like he manages to tackle both of his favorite versions of this simultaneously in these verses.
That is true. He's actually playing both sides. You're right.
I will quickly say that, like, on a personal note, like, and I'm sure you guys all agree, but hearing this for the first time, I had like this almost like Weird Al is talking to me with this as like such a huge Ben Folds fan who could not be more obsessed with The Simpsons. I was like, you're kidding me. Like,
The Simpsons, got me
God.
completely. I totally agree. Yeah.
I think that's why people love music, right? It's that moment where you can connect with somebody that you might not ever meet. I know that I have told you this before, Allie, but like on your very first album, that song Letter to Myself, I was just like, I have felt all of the things that she is referencing in this. It's one of those cool moments where I always talk about, like, when the internet came out, it gave people this feeling of like a shared singular experience where, like, you caught a weird movie at midnight on TV, and for your whole life you thought you were the only person who caught that movie.
Yeah.
And then the internet comes around and you find like thousands of other people who were watching that movie at the same time that you
there
were.
are dozens of us.
Yeah, dozens. but I agree with you. Like, hearing an artist that I love doing a style parody of another artist that I love and referencing TV shows that I enjoy and love, it's just
Perfect.
like, how much
It's
more
a new
could
kind
this
of special.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is definitely my guy. Like, there's a reason why I've been backing this horse since I was 12.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And if I may, just to, because you brought up my song, Open Letter to Myself, I'm assuming that no one listening to this podcast has heard that song, but it might be worth pointing out that it takes great inspiration from the type of humor that Weird Al has, which is my music when I am doing anything in the comedic realm, as opposed to like my Nine Inch Nails covers. It does, as I mentioned the first time I did this show, it does like lend itself to humor, but it is first and foremost earnest. And that, I think, is where you get some of the comedy that happens in a lot of Weird Al's songs. Like last time I was here, we talked about Melanie and like how it's played so straight, and that's what makes it so good. But the song Open Letter to Myself is exactly that. It's a letter to myself saying like, Allie, you know, people are allowed to like whatever garbage trash movies and TV they want to like. Stop judging them for having the world's worst taste. So I think that Al, better than anyone I can think of, captures that voice of finding, again, like the sympathy that there's an earthquake happening while making it about him. And I think like, you know, I'm trying to be a better person who's not judgmental, and in the same breath can't help but shit on the people that I'm trying to be not judgmental about.
Yeah. It's a tough balance that we all have to strike. And there's a funny thing in this of like, we all, who has not had that moment, right? It's amped up in this song to such a degree that of course you just can't help but laugh at it. But like, we all have like, especially at the sitting in traffic verse of this is such an incredible, like, over the top example of something that we all can so relate to, of just like the impossible to have perspective on these sorts of things, right? When something happens to you and you get so worked up and so upset about it, and because we're not capable of imagining and wrapping our heads around the enormousness of the world around us and what is happening to all of these other people.
I
think like my friend died, and that's $5 I'm never getting back.
Exactly.
Well, I was going to say, I think that Al literally had to add the absurd level of it being specifically a person he knew who happened to die. Because if you didn't have the friend dying and he owes me money, this is too real. It's way too real that we are like stuck in traffic because of a car crash, and all we're thinking about is how it directly affects our ability to get somewhere on time. There'd be no comedy in this verse.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
everybody would feel it. They're like, yeah, Al's right. Like, you need it to throw in that, oh, also one of the people who died is one of my best friends and he owes me money, and now I'll never get that money back.
Well, yeah, and he's just going to be late to work too. I also just love the idea of like, it's not even like, I mean, not that work's not important, but he's just like, I'm going to be late to work and the $5. Yeah. Imagine imagine that you were stuck in traffic and you finally like turn a corner and it is shown to you that it is a friend on the ground. Can you even imagine? Like, that is a lifetime of trauma. And the way Al just plays it, like Al's ability to insert horrific imagery into comedy songs is maybe unparalleled. I don't know how, absolutely. Like his ability to give you horrifying images. And actually, you know, it's been a little while since we've heard a song of his that was this graphic.
Oh, because the third verse is...
I mean, this is...
bent the tip a little.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Like, yeah, really, really, really tough stuff. But
we talked about this literally, I want to say, last week with Bacon when we were talking about a complicated song. But this is another song where his heightening is perfect. It is the exact correct order that these needed to come in for the heightening to work. And my God, yeah, this third verse about the boss... stabbing him in the face with the backup vocals, like he knows how to even just tastefully put a backup vocal that makes something that's already funny somehow just funnier because there's that echo vocal afterwards. Like,
oh, the right in the face.
Yeah.
Right in the face.
Yeah. No, the backing vocals on this song are some of the best bits of the comedy. The right in the face and even disembodied head in verse 2.
Disembodied head. Yeah, it's so... Yeah, it's very like doo-wop, like, I don't know, there's something old-timey and fun about it as well.
Absolutely.
When it comes to, the lack of writing credit for Ben Folds, like, I will say, like, I have performed a cover of this song a couple of times live, and I'm not playing Ben Folds' piano. I couldn't if I wanted to, and I do. I am playing pretty poorly, performed guitar with it. But the melody is beautiful. It's a great song, and the lyrics are just so, so funny that they really stand on their own. And sometimes I think this is obscure enough that I could make people think that I wrote this.
Yeah. No, it is a testament to the song is amazing on its own. I totally agree. Any arrangement, I'm sure it would absolutely work. It's a testament to Ben Folds as a piano player.
That is so clearly him.
It's so him. Like, he has such a voice on that instrument because he sits, again, the whole song, like all the way from the very beginning, feels immediately like it's him. But then when he takes that solo in the middle, you're like, well, who else could that possibly be? The aggressive, the way he just pounds those keys is so him. And honestly, a part of the writing credit thing must come down to them being friends, because I'm sure Al wrote something in an attempt to mirror Ben Folds' style, and they probably were talking about it, and Ben was like, oh my God, I'd love to play on it. I was like, oh, perfect, that's great, we're definitely going to nail your style then. Like, it's just, but I mean, with the exception of, the only other one of these I can think of is going all the way back to Money for Nothing, where Mark Knopfler played the guitar on that, but that was, he insisted. I don't know if Ben, I don't think Ben insisted, but that was... That was the only way Al could get permission to do the parody, was if Mark Knopfler played the guitar lick for Money for Nothing.
Wow.
And I can't imagine that was the case here. This just seems like two friends being like, this will be fun. Let's do this together, right? This sounds great. But other than that, I can't think of any other collaborations like this, at least not up to this moment in Al's career.
I would also throw like Real Big Fish playing the horns on Horoscope for Today, but that's like a much broader... That's not as direct as this.
That's not as direct. That's a deeper pull. But I do agree that is certainly him going to the
actual source. Yeah. But but no, I think this is the... Has there been anything after this as well where like he's brought in... Like, Hanson didn't have anything to do with the Hanson style parody that he does a year or two later.
They did, right? I think he wrote If That Isn't Love with Hanson. I'm pretty sure that was if I remember correctly, that was I haven't done my research on that song yet, but I think that was like a songwriting workshop or a retreat. They did something together and wrote that song. I'm not sure if they play on it with him, but I do believe that was an actual collaboration with them in some way.
I wonder if it's just at this point he has musical friends and he's just like, hey, I want to pay tribute. I mean, I'm making him sound like Wesley Willis being like, I'm going to name a song after you. But like, he's just like, hey, I want to do a song in your style. Would you be interested in joining me for it? Like,
well, and you know what? And you know what? Actually, now I'm looking. It looks like Hanson did not actually get a co-write on If That Isn't Love. I thought they did something. We'll get to that later. But no, we're going to actually see it start happening really soon as well. And this is like one of my favorite phases for Al, is like, he has now stuck around long enough. At this moment in time, he is so established that the generation he influenced are now working professionals and are now doing things with him. They're going to start making videos. They're going to start doing cameos. He's going to have all these crazy guest actors in his music videos. And just like actual established artists are going to want to work with him because he made such an impact on everyone.
Yeah.
It's in comedy and music.
It's funny because like, in 2025, when I'm thinking of the most recent Weird Al videos, I'm thinking of like these Celebrity Palooza videos. Mm-hmm. But like at this point in us doing his albums, like I think the most jaw-dropping, like, holy crap, look, he has a famous person in the video. It's like Drew Carey and Emo Phillips showing up in All About the Penny. I was like, he really hasn't pulled from that well still at this point. Like, this is kind of, like you said, the beginning of when he's just like, screw it, I got famous friends, why don't I just
it's starting to become a thing where and he just has artists that he really likes who also like him back. And I think we've seen, like, especially in Al's early years, like, he was much more forced to tiptoe around his relationship with the people he was working with, the way he was parodying people. That was like a delicate thing. And now he's become established enough that it's more of like, we're starting to enter the badge of honor phase, which we're now in, and we have been for the last, probably since the 2000s, really.
Also,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Don't
Go
want
ahead.
to cut you off. Maybe I don't know, but I feel like Ben Folds, like, certainly Rockin' the Suburbs was popular, and Ben Folds 5 came out first, but like, have I assume I haven't told you the story of the first time I saw Ben Folds live, but it does. Okay, so I think I was probably 15, 16 maybe. 2006 or 7. And I went to the Hollywood Bowl, and I was so excited, and I noticed that everyone at the concert was like really hot. Like, everyone was like hot in like a conventionally hot, like everyone was blonde, like the girls were blonde. There were a lot of cowboy boots and cowboy hats. I was like, this is not the demo that I thought Ben Folds had. This is so bizarre. And Ben Folds came out, and I was like, no opener, okay. And he played amazingly. He was awesome. And then after like 20 minutes, he left, and then John Mayer came out because I was accidentally at a John Mayer concert that Ben Folds was just the opener for.
Oh, that's so upsetting. I mean, John Mayer, a great guitarist in his own right, but not when you're signing up for. That's like when you go to sip soda and you grab the water that's in front of you and you're just kind of startled for a second. It's not bad, but it's not what you were expecting.
It's just not what you expected. Yeah. So, I mean, even in like, 2005 or 6, like, you have Ben Folds like opening for John Mayer, and a lot of people don't know who that is yet. And, Rockin' the Suburbs came out on a pretty bad day in America's history, if you don't remember.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, not ideal.
And so I do feel like it was like when I would meet people in high school that even heard of Ben Folds, I was like so excited. So I feel like in 2003, like, obviously Ben Folds is doing great, but not like, I don't know that people that aren't really cool know who that is. So even though it's amazing within the Weird Al universe, it's still probably like attainable.
Yeah, that's fair. I think to this day, Brick is like the highest charting, biggest thing that Ben ever released, right?
That's crazy.
Technically, it's insane, but technically
he did Over the Hedge.
Yeah, he did. He rewrote Rockin' the Suburbs with new lyrics for Over the Hedge.
I forgot. What a world. What a world.
No, the Regina Spektor one is probably up there.
The You Don't Know Me?
You Don't Know Me?
Yeah, that's true. That was big too.
But honestly, I looked into it one time, and like, as weird as this is, we could technically do an episode on Ben Folds 5 for One Hit Thunder. Like, when you look at the chart performance, like, outside of people who love Ben Folds, it's kind of Brick. They might vaguely remember Army, or like they might, like, if they were alternative rock people, they might have like some remembrance of other songs on the modern rock charts, but Brick was like a massive crossover for him that he never really even matched in his solo career to that same level.
That's crazy.
It's upsetting.
Kate
it actually makes
you
angry.
But you know what? Also, career-wise, it's not that. I mean, and this is maybe my own judgment or experience coming through, but it's like, if you are fortunate, like, he had a massive enough hit that it brought enough people in that then he's now making his own record. Like, if he's still able to keep a career going with like good quality material on an indie level, like, boosted by that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's absolutely fine. He has, I think he could and should have more like proper radio hits than that song, just listening to his catalog and how catchy and wonderful so many of his songs are. But he's all things considered, it's definitely a victory for Ben Folds as far as I'm concerned. I love that he's still making music.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track, and ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
That moment when you realize your skincare is actually working. That's Rodan & Fields, the #1 female dermatologist-founded skincare brand in the U.S. Designed by 2 dermatologists who don't just know women's skin, they know how to formulate for it. Rodan & Fields, love what you see. Tap the banner or visit rodanandfields.com/Spotify to get your exclusive welcome offer.
Introducing Internet Supreme Court,
a new live stream show on Twitch and YouTube Live.
Our dishonorable judges and highly partial jury, that's you, join to cast judgment.
Every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's when we convene to debate the fate of memes and the weekly cultural zeitgeist.
From the hottest trends to the dumbest controversies.
Find out more at InternetSupremeCourt.com.
Subscribe to Geekscape TV on Twitch or YouTube to get notified when we're live.
InternetSupremeCourt.com.
He's hysterically funny. He plays himself on an episode of You're the Worst, which is a criminally underrated show. And in that episode, he just keeps telling people that Brick is about abortion, and everyone's attitude is like, I know. Shut up, Ben Folds.
Okay, this is insane that I just need to share. Ben Folds' solo career, he's only had 2 songs even appear on the Hot 100. At 71 and 77.
That's crazy. I know Ben Folds' songs better than anything other than the Beatles, probably. Like, that's wild.
So at 77 was Land It, and the song that charted higher than Land It on the Hot 100, unfortunately, was his cover of Bitches Ain't Shit.
Oh, yeah.
which was important at the time.
It was.
Bitches ain't shit, but hoes and chicks.
When you were telling that story,
the dick. I know the whole thing.
Before you revealed like what the circumstance was, I was like, maybe it was just because Bitches Ain't Shit kind of went viral and a bunch of attractive people like were like, this song's funny, I'm gonna go see this guy live. Because I remember my friend saw They Might Be Giants live like right after Malcolm in the Middle had come out.
Oh,
and he was like, he said they literally went on stage, played the Malcolm in the Middle theme song, and was like, that's the only time we're playing it. So if that's the reason why you're here, you can go now. Like,
wow.
Jeez.
That's the opposite of what Nerf Herder does, at least when I've seen them. They play the Buffy theme song like 13 times in a row to like troll you.
I saw them do that once as well, or at least like a couple times. They just like looped it again.
Funny.
Yeah. I love
Especially
that.
since it opens with such an aggressive guitar lick.
Yeah.
The only time I got to see Nerf Herder was also the first time I met Allie in person.
Oh, that was a very good show, if I may
that
say
was
so myself.
Ozma and Nerf Herder in a
Ozma.
it was a good show.
I love Ozma.
It was a really good show.
Damn. Yeah, that's great.
Allie got on stage.
Oh man, I wish I was at that show. That's awesome.
Well, I had played with, I opened for Nerf Herder like a month before, and that was a pretty great night because they have a song called Allie Goertz.
I do know about that, yes.
And then I sang my song called Nerf Herder Girl to them, and that was where I debuted it. So that was pretty exciting.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the Allie Goertz song was because you did a cover of Lamer Than Lame? Was that the one?
Yeah, which only like 6,000 people had ever seen, including them, I guess. That or it was just him again and again and again. But yeah.
I was at least one of the lamer than lame views. Because
I love lamer than lame. And I met them once. We did this, like, there was a year at Comic-Con where there was this like offshoot music comedy convention type of thing. Maybe it was I don't really know how it worked, but it was me and Nerf Herder and a few other people, and they had me sing Lamer Than Lame with them, but I had to warn them, like, my cover works because I changed the key so that I can sing it. I'm going to sound like trash. Right. And I did. But that was it. Like, that was the extent of which we had ever really communicated, like, at the show, and then, hey, I like your cover. And so when they messaged me and were like, hey, check out this song, I was like, what?
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. Oh my God.
I love that so much. Anyway, back to Ben Folds and why does this always happen to me? Matt, are you ready to rank this bad boy? What are your thoughts on here?
I think I am. I mean, it's, you know, we glanced over the lyrics to this. I think before we rank, I think it's just worth running down these verses because they really are so, I think this is just so fun and so well written. Do you want me to do it, Matt?
Well, I think each one of us can take a verse.
I love it.
And I think Allie, being the beloved Simpsons fan, should do the first verse.
Yeah, let's see. I could pull it up or I could do it from memory. Are we just reading?
Yeah, just reading.
Yeah,
you don't
just
have to
reading.
sing it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I pull it up. Although, yeah, we're not. I'll pull out my guitar. Okay, from memory. No, I'll read it.
Yeah. Okay.
I could sing it. I could sing it more easily, but I was watching my TV one night when they broke in with a special report about some devastating earthquake in Peru. There were 30,000 crushed to death. Even more were buried alive. On the Richter scale, it measured 8.2. And I said, God, please answer me one question. Why'd they have to interrupt The Simpsons just for this? What a drag, because I was taping it and everything, and now I'll have to wait for the rerun to see the part of the show I missed.
I love, I mean, perfect. Once again, just 30,000 people. That is a lot of
even
people.
More
and even more buried alive, which does not make it sound like they're going to be okay. That seems really bad. And I, you know, just the little like references that are just so perfectly dated. Like I just even the idea of having to tape The Simpsons, like I grew up doing that. Whether I could watch it live or not, just to hang on to it so I could, rewatch them later.
I still have some of mine. I've been digitizing them to find commercials for Internet
amazing.
Supreme Court.
Oh man, yeah.
I'll take the second verse.
Go ahead, Matt Kelly.
The other day. Oh wait, nope, skipped it entirely. I was driving down the highway when all the traffic slowed to a crawl. There was a 12-car pileup. Everybody dead. I saw brains and guts and vital organs splattered everywhere, as well as my friend Robert's disembodied head. And I thought, poor Rob, I just had lunch with him. Hey, wait a minute. He still owes me money. What a jerk. Well, there's $5 that I'm never going to see again. Plus, now on top of everything else, it looks like I'm going to be late for work.
Just the cherry on top.
Just the cherry on top, the late for work. This also reminds me of Dave and Ethan were talking about how they had a ranking list of like the most casualties
Massacre?
In a Weird Al song, like how many people die in the song. This has got to be up there. I think they said Albuquerque was in three.
Yeah, Albuquerque was 3 in the mayhem and death category.
Yeah. But this is a lot of people died. 12-car pileup, everybody dead. Wow. Okay, well then let's go to verse 3 where I think only one person dies. So maybe he's de-escalating a little bit. The other day, my boss said we were running low on toner, and he told me I should buy another case. Well, I told him I was busy, but he still just kept on asking. So I turned around, stabbed him in the face.
Right in the face.
Right in the face. Oh, and wouldn't you know it, my knife got stuck. I guess that's probably bound to happen now and then, but I'm afraid I may have bent the tip a little, and I know that blade will never, ever be quite as sharp again.
That's such a reveal that this guy is... I mean, we should have known that when he is so callous about what's going on and so self-centered.
Exactly.
Like, we are dealing with a narcissist here. We know that much, but he's a straight up psychopath.
Oh, yeah. Like, possibly a serial killer. He has been just ambivalent. He's only witnessed 2 other atrocities and was like, that's annoying. But this is straight up, like, we need new toner. Murder.
Murder.
I mean, this is why parents didn't want their kids watching The Simpsons.
Yes.
Exactly.
Speaking of that, I do have to laugh. Like I said, I went to the Weird Al Wiki/fandom page to see what they thought this was based on, Ben Folds wise, and I was very charmed by the trivia page. There's 4 pieces of trivia.
Okay.
Piece number 1 is that Ben Folds also plays piano on this track.
Yes.
That is where I feel like true trivia ends for the rest of this, because beyond this, it's just facts. Trivia point number 2. Peru is a country in Western South America.
Oh.
Trivia point 3. The Richter scale assigns a single number to the quantity and size and severity of an earthquake. And trivia piece number 4, The Simpsons is an American animated sitcom.
Wow. That really presumes very little prior knowledge. Trivia fact number 5, knives are used to cut things.
Yeah. I was just like, man, someone typed all these in, huh?
Yeah. Well. Traffic is when cars are congested.
Exactly.
It's like when you go on like IMDb and read a goof where you're just like, what nerd sat down and took, where it's like, this movie's supposed to take place on a Friday, but that year and date it was a Wednesday.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, man.
You're looking at her.
Oh, sorry, Allie. All right. So, Matt, do
People
you
like
know?
me make the world go round.
That is true. You keep us honest. All right. Where do you want to rank this, Matt?
I am going to rank this. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to put it just above another song from this record. I'm going to put it just above Wanna Be Your Lover.
Okay.
Which puts it just below You Don't Love Me Anymore, which I actually feel like is a great parallel to this in terms of the disproportionate response and his lack of understanding. I don't know. It sits very nicely to me as a pair with that one. So yeah, I'm going to put it just there. That's reasonably high up actually on my ranking. That's, not in the top 10 or anything, but it's definitely in the upper portion. This song really, really delights me.
That's pretty high. I actually went higher. I went between Since You've Been Gone and Dog Eat Dog. Still not in the top 10, but pretty close, all things considered.
Yeah, that's definitely up there. No, this is great. I went to the very first show of the Vanity Tour back in 2018, and that was the first time it was the first show of the tour, so he was dusting off a lot of tracks, and he did this song on that night for the first time in like over 10 years or something like that, and it was one of my favorite things that I heard him do that night, because this is just such a fun piece of music.
And Allie, you get to join in the fun of ranking as well, as you may remember from when you were on here for Melanie. We have the guest rankings here, which normally I would be a good host and send that to you in advance, but I did a really bad job today. As you can see, at the very bottom is Saga Begins. At the very top is Amish Paradise, and a bunch of stuff in between. So you get to place Why Does This Always Happen to Me anywhere on the list, and then after that, you can move one song anywhere you want on the list.
Okay. I mean, I would put it above your horoscope I would just move your horoscope for today, I guess. But
yeah.
Below Amish Paradise, because, that's iconic. Between Everything You Know Is Wrong and, God, I honestly don't know if I could choose between Everything You Know Is Wrong and Why Does This Always Happen to Me, because they are so perfect at doing what they're doing. Like I said, I honestly would put Everything You Know Is Wrong within my top 5 They Might Be Giants songs, to the point that I'm most likely covering it for my They Might Be Giants cover album.
Yes.
I love that. That sounds like a bonus track at the end of the album or something. Oh,
yeah. I mean, based on the current ranking that I'm seeing, I'm just going to put it... Oh, but Melanie's so good.
Melanie's still pretty high up. That was a long time ago you did that episode, and it has remained very far up there.
Yeah, I don't think it's been moved.
I'm going to put it right under Amish Paradise.
Oh, you're putting it over Everything You Know Is Wrong.
I'm going to do it.
Nice.
Yeah,
wow.
I think I think the Ben Folds of it all and the Simpsons of it all, and just like the reason that Everything You Know Is Wrong is so good is because you are very familiar with They Might Be Giants, and the type of lyrics they're making are so perfect for paying tribute to them. Whereas, Why Does This Always Happen to Me? You don't need to know who Ben Folds is. You don't need to know anything. You don't even need to know where Peru is. Like, you don't need to know what a Richter scale is to appreciate how funny this is. And for me, that's reason enough to have it slightly edge out Everything You Know Is Wrong.
Nice. Now, moving song, you mentioned maybe moving horoscope, unless there's anything else that you feel is super egregious.
I mean, Since You've Been Gone, I feel like should be higher. I can't believe Eat It is there. That's crazy. And Frank 2000's Inch TV. This is all very upsetting.
Frank's is oddly in the middle there. That's very forgotten. That's like that makes me a little sad.
I think people are going for those big moves of dropping something from the top to the bottom or from the bottom to the top, and they're not even
people
checking
have gotten
the middle.
Power mad, I'll tell you what.
Oh boy, Lily Hirsch specifically is just out of control.
She's a menace.
All right, let's go back up a little bit. I just want to kind of get a little bit more. God, Gump is very funny. Girls Just Want to Have Lunch is so funny too. I honestly think I'm tempted to move Since You've Been Gone up. I mean, it's just so offensive that some of these are coming before all these other ones. So it's like the whole thing is so wrong. I think I could have spent about an hour looking at this. So let me... Listen, I know it's extremely basic, but I'm putting Eat It needs to change. Like, Eat It is just like classic. Like, if I had to choose one classic Weird Al song, I think, like, if I had to pick one Weird Al song to put into like the mixtape for the aliens of like what humanity is, I do think Eat It needs to be on it. Like, I know it's popular. I want to do the more obscure stuff, but Eat It needs to be higher. But are we making things go higher or lower? Does it matter?
You can make it go any direction you want. You can literally just say between this song and this song.
Yeah, Eat It goes right after Amish Paradise.
All right. So number 2.
You know what that was, Allie? That was responsible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was, we were just talking about how reckless people can be, and you are here doing the Lord's work.
I'm here to do the right thing. Well, this is why you get the people who say this didn't take place on a Friday.
That was perfect. Perfect.
Like, I see that and I'm just like, who's been running this?
Listen, the inmates. The inmates have been running the asylum. Allie, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure when you're here. Last time you were here, you were promoting a Kickstarter that turned into probably my favorite album of last year. So,
oh wow, thank you.
Big shout out to that cover album that you put out. And now there's a new cover album that you're working on. Do we have any clue when that project's going to be jumping off?
Ooh, no, that's going to be something that takes up all my time and energy for the, unforeseeable future. But it is coming. There will be some versions of me doing it. I think it could be called They Might Be Goertz.
I love it. That's great.
We will see what happens. But I will be keeping people posted on all the social medias, which is always at Allie Goertz on everything. And yeah, I'm so excited to have been on the show today.
Thank you so much again. And
yes, thank you.
When people listen to the next episode, it'll sound like we just recorded it a week later, but this is the last episode before you go on a very long tour. So,
well,
we can't even promote that tour because you'll be back by the time this episode
By the time
comes
this episode
out.
airs, the tour that Matt's referencing will be over. I will be so tired, but I will be happy to come back and record more. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, so we're stopping in the middle of Poodle Happen. When you come back, we get to talk about one of Al's greatest parodies, Ode to a Superhero.
Ode to a Superhero. That's the anticipation of that's going to carry me through. So I can't wait.
Hell yeah.
Impact confirmed. The Slayer has been activated.
Demonic threat level increasing.
Hold the line!
All the power of hell cowering before one man.
id Software presents Doom: The Dark Ages. Available now on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC.
Rated M for mature.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.